Your trade deadline is probably this week as we head into playoffs. So this will be our last trade for and trade away video. We hope we've helped you this year.
Yeah.
But all these guys are going to be primed to help you in the playoffs. We're going to give you trade fours first. Badaki, who's your first trade for?
Yeah, my first trade for is Najee Harris. Look, going into the playoffs, you want max opportunity, absolute guaranteed points, and this is what's going to be on this trade for target list. Okay, no matter what, Najee is king of opportunity. He's RB4 in the year so far. He's only had 2 games under 10 points, which was last week, and if I'm not mistaken, week 1. Okay, He's 4th in attempts. He's 2nd in targets in the air. Like I said, in the next 4 weeks, if you want to make playoffs and if you want to solidify that championship, you want guys that at least if you lose, you lost because the other team just went absolutely crazy. Okay, Najee's gonna get you at least minimum, I want to say 12 plus points, 15, 20 points. That's how I'm feeling week in and week out for Najee. So why not go get this guy? Do everything you can to win. Okay, this is
these are all trade highs. Like we said, you're not going to get values for these. You have to give up good players to get these players in return, but that's what you want to do to win your championships. Najee Harris, king of opportunity, like Badaki said. I love it. All right, my first trade for is Hollywood Brown.
Yeah.
Wide receiver 15 in PPR formats this year, and it's safe to say that he has fully broken out. He is Lamar Jackson's favorite go-to target outside of maybe Mark Andrews. But still, this guy's getting targeted more than anyone else on the team. He's absolutely the big play threat. If there's ever a 60-yard touchdown, it's probably Hollywood Brown. There's not another person on this team that makes those kind of plays.
Right.
Check this out. Targets this year. Since week 7, Hollywood Brown is averaging over 12 targets per game.
Sheesh.
That's the highest amongst all wide receivers on a per game basis. He presents a very safe floor and a very high ceiling. Last week was an amazing game, still got the targets.
Right.
But if you need ammunition, maybe the Hollywood Brown owner is worried about Rashad Bateman. Bateman's been great, but Hollywood Brown's targets have only gone up since Bateman entered the lineup, not down. So use this as to your advantage to go get Hollywood Brown. Playoff opponents are Green Bay, Cincinnati, and the Rams. You might say those are some good defenses. Yeah, I understand that, but these are all teams that can score offensively, which means the Ravens aren't going to be able to just run out the clock and play good defense. They're going to have to put up points themselves. Those are the game scripts you want your players to be in the playoffs. Go get Hollywood.
I love it. I love it. My next trade for target is Joe Moneybag Mixon. And once again, it's all about max opportunity moving forward into the playoffs. He's currently 3rd in attempts behind Derrick Henry, who's out for the rest of the season, Jonathan Taylor. So I feel like he probably will finish 2nd in attempts in the running back position. He's currently RB3 and he's 3rd in touchdowns. I mean, if you can package somebody right now to get this guy, we think there's so many mouths to feed, and there probably is, but Mixon is the guy I feel like has been consistent the whole year.
And they're winning with their identity as run the ball with Joe Mixon.
Absolutely.
That's the whole identity of the team as they win.
And that's what you need in the playoffs. I truly believe if you can get Joe Mixon on your team, you will probably be in the championship. And I know that sounds crazy, and while I'm not guaranteeing that, but that's how I feel. If I feel like if I can get Joe Mixon on my team, I'm winning. So try it. Once again, absolute guaranteed points, Joe Moneybag Mixon.
I like it. All right, my next trade for is probably the only guy you're going to get at a discount amongst this list.
Right.
And it's Logan Thomas. He missed 7 games this year because of that hamstring injury. Just came back on Monday Night Football and had a decent game. The numbers don't really show exactly what he did in this game. 3 receptions for 31 yards. Doesn't sound great. That sounds like an average tight end. But He got 6 targets and he almost had a touchdown. They reversed that touchdown. I don't know how they had enough evidence to do that, but they reversed it.
They did.
So his stat line could have looked much, much better. The other thing to consider here is Washington dominated that entire game. And they more than doubled the Seahawks' time of possession. They were running the ball. Antonio Gibson had the most attempts he's ever had and the most opportunities he's ever had in a game because they dominated this game so heavily on the ground. They didn't need to actually throw the ball all that much. So in other games this year, they're going to need to throw the ball. They're going to need to rely on Logan Thomas. They looked for him early on drives. And I think he's still one of the premier red zone threats on this team. Fourth easiest remaining strength of schedule.
Right.
Okay. A lot of divisional games coming up. I think if you need a reliable tight end, Logan Thomas is the guy who you can field. He's in that tier 2 tight end. He's not tier 1, but he's a tier 2 guy you can start every week and hopefully get at least 10 points from. So this is a guy that could just fill in that spot for you while your other players are elite.
Yeah, I agree. And if you saw that game, the first target was to Logan Thomas for, if I'm not mistaken, the first down. So, I mean,
well, it was underthrown. So, but he did get the first target.
Yeah. Okay. So the first target. I mean, they're gonna work him early. I think this is just a warm up game for him coming back. But yeah, I love Logan Thomas moving forward.
Agreed.
My last trade for target is Justin Jefferson, and once again, max opportunity. And if you can get this guy on your team, it will be great. He's currently 9th in targets. He's only had 2 games. Another guy that only had 2 games less than 5 points. I mean, he's getting it. Or sorry, he only has 2 games less than 5 targets. Excuse me. Yeah. So he's getting the ball, okay, and he's getting these massive chunk plays. He also 3rd in the most yards amongst wide receivers. So once again, if you need a guy that can help you win your leagues, Justin Jefferson is the feature in this. Dalvin's hurt in the next 2 weeks. Justin Jefferson, Adam Thielen is touchdown dependent. So it's clear this is Kirk Cousins' favorite target.
Yeah. And probably the most talented wide receiver. So
I love it.
I like Justin Jefferson. Again, guys that guarantee you points. All right, I'm going to give you one mystery name. All right, you can pause the video at any time and comment in the comments who you think this person is, and I'll reveal it at the end.
Yep.
All right, so since his bye week, this player, who I want you to trade for, has scored the 8th highest points at his position. Before the bye week, he was ranked 22nd. He's been dealing with injuries all year, and he's a name that I don't think many people in the fantasy world trust fully just yet. He's already had his bye week, and he's been in that category where you call him good for his team, but not good for fantasy. We said that a lot this year on our podcast. But he's recently really had a good run of games in fantasy as well. He's a player that takes away a lot of touches from him. That really hurts his upside. Just got injured this week. That should be a big key for you.
Right.
And lastly, he has the easiest remaining strength of schedule amongst his position. So, Badaki, who is this trade for target? You guessed it on the podcast.
I did, and I'm getting good at these. Okay.
Yeah.
One last second. It's Antonio Gibson. Okay.
Antonio. Yeah, that's right. It's Antonio Gibson. If you commented down below, well done. But I really like Antonio Gibson rest of season.
Yeah.
Again, he just coming off a game where he had his most opportunities ever. And now J.D. McKissick is injured. We don't know if he's going to be healthy or not. And the easiest remaining strength of schedule. So go cash in on that. And I think he's not going to cost as much because people don't trust him.
I agree.
So I really like him as an RB2. All right, we're going to give you 2 tradeaways quickly. My first is Dontrell Hilliard, running back for the Titans. Look, he's coming off 2 great games. Let's look at his game last week. Finished as the RB13, 131 yards on the ground and 1 touchdown. But most of that production came from 1 rushing attempt that went for 68 yards and a touchdown. It's not reliable. It's not something that you can depend upon in the playoffs. So he's someone I'm looking to sell high. You're not going to get much for him, but you want to add him to a trade package to make the package look more enticing for someone. He's a throw-in that puts that trade over the edge for you. Rest of season strength of schedule, 2nd worst for running backs the Titans have. So trade away Hilliard right now if you can.
Yeah, I agree. Look, my trade away targets is multiple, and this is the middle of the pack guys that have helped you 1 weeks potentially throughout the year, but if you can, get rid of them now. Okay, AJ Dillon, Damian Harris, and Myles Gaskin. I'm thinking of Melvin Gordon's. I'm thinking of Josh Jacobs. These guys in the middle of the pack that maybe if you have him as an RB3 on your team, maybe you have him as an RB2, maybe you can upgrade somewhere. Maybe you can get a better tight end, a better wide receiver. I think of guys like a Tyler Lockett I like to package. I know Zach's probably not the biggest fan, but there's different packages that you can do to try to get these guys.
Hollywood.
Yeah,
Hollywood's a good one.
Try to get these guys off your team to get solidified points in the playoffs. Once again, you want to win. These guys have all been up and down all year. They've won you weeks and they've lost you weeks. And you don't
their
need
roles are up and down as well. Their roles are
exactly.
inconsistent.
And you don't need that right now, especially if you're trying to make the playoffs or once you're in the playoffs. So get rid of these guys. Once again, A.J. Dillon, Damian Harris, Myles Gaskin, Melvin Gordon, Josh Jacobs, and the list can go on and on. Just look at those. Look at how the season's going and look at that middle of the pack list. See if you can get rid of them.
I'm with you. The only person I would say is I actually am okay with Josh Jacobs as an RB2. Like I wouldn't force a trade, but I'm with you with all the other guys. That is our trade for tradeaways. Let us know in the comments if you have any questions.
Yo, what's good? Thanks for watching. We got a lot more videos.
A lot more.
If you want more videos,
watch
now,
it.
You can also subscribe
right now
if you want to.
You need to.
And lastly, don't forget that you can sign up to support the show and get exclusive content by going to patreon.com/fantasylandfam.